What's up, everybody? This is Landlife with Chris Brackett. Chris Brackett's Landlife podcast right here, right now. We've got Bryce Liberty sitting here on the couch. This is the first time we've ever done it with two people on camera. We're still not going to get into the weeds where we're editing it up and using 3 camera angles and getting close-ups, but maybe that's coming in the future. I don't really know. But welcome, Bryce.
Thanks. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah.
First time, it's all new.
Is it fun?
It's different, but yeah, it's fun.
Your favorite part was seeing the room for the first time, like the old Castle Go.
Yeah, it's just being able to walk into something that you see on the internet all the time, and it's just being present in the room is just a different feeling.
But you like these deer?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Which one's your favorite?
Especially to have history with some of them. Probably penguin is probably my favorite.
Penguin?
Yep.
He was a little deer bodied, little short little guy, but he looked like he's a brand new world record when he was walking around. Yeah, do you still remember when you sent me the picture and told me that he was alive?
Yeah, because I called you. I was on the way over here to deer hunt, and you were still sleeping. You're like, what's going on? Freaking out. And I'm like, dude, he's back. He showed up.
Who? And you said penguin.
Yeah, and you're like, nah. I was like, check the cameras.
And he looked literally staring at the camera at like 4 a.m.
Coming, literally looked like a 190 to 200.
Coming out of the kill plot, headed out into the power line, which then he ended up, I killed him like half a mile away, but like he was rock and rolling. Well, cool, man. This is like spring fling 2024. I think the food plot and landowner world is imploding because they feel like they are behind on food plots because the ground is warming up. We have 60-degree weather. Tuesday, we have 70-degree weather in central Illinois. And relax. It's still winter. It's not even spring yet. Mother Nature is going to freeze us out again. So don't freak out. Prepare, don't freak out. So that's what we're going to talk about today is frost seeding. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chris Brackett. I used to do 2 shows on the Outdoor Channel, Sports Channel, Top Shot, Sons of Guns on history and discovery, and traveled the world and caught all my dreams. And I love outdoors. I love being a woodsman. I think there's more about being a woodsman than there is to being a hunter. And I think that word is something that is lacking in today's hunter world. You know, everybody uses the word, this industry. This industry is, to me, something that is sad, quite frankly. I mean, you have all these brands, all this stuff, and it becomes lackluster for me because I remember the beginning of hunting for me, which was literally like red flannel and 12 gauge slugs, and hardly anybody bow hunted. And if they did, they had an old square sight pin and shot double X 75. Sometimes they weren't even double X 75s with the Uninox system. They're just aluminum arrows, and you're shooting either a thunderhead or a muzzy. And now I'll bet you that there are 80 different broadheads, and they cost like sometimes $70 to buy 3 of them. Right. And so like for me, it's really weird. And I like the woodsmanship more than anything. And that comes down to right now, I have a lot of people that I hunt with and help them with their land or whatever. And I really kind of go back to say, like, kind of slow down. What is your reason for hunting? Like most of these guys are not even gutting their own deer. Like they're dropping them off at the somebody is, and they're paying somebody to do that. And I understand all that. But to me, I'm still the crazy guy that will keep his deer hanging in his garage, buy pizza, buy beer, have everybody over, and try to relish that moment with that whitetail as long as that weather will allow me to. And that's the woodsmanship part of it, is that you can drop a woodsman into the woods and he can catch a turtle, he can run a trot line, country boy can't survive type thing, but anybody can hunt. And what is your own personal goals? We've got some other friends here. They're off camera, but they're coming up with subjects, going to hit me with questions. We're having a fun day here on this beautiful Saturday in Illinois. We were talking earlier about what your goals are as a landowner or a big buck hunter and what were we talking about when it said keep me on path if I get off path here, but do you want to kill a 200-inch whitetail or the biggest whitetail on your farm, and you'll hunt them in a tree stand or a blind, by whatever weapon, any means necessary? You just want to have that encounter with that once in a lifetime animal and get them killed, or maybe hunt with a longbow and a flint nabbed arrow and kill a 1.5 year old, right? I mean, isn't that what we're coming down to, is the experience and the animal and stuff? Do you guys find that? Do you find that? Do you find that to be your goal, is to go, I want this kind of experience, and I'm going to set my farm up, or I'm going to travel across the country, and I'm going to do whatever to get that one experience, to put that into your brain and your heart and soul and relive it every time you either look at the mount on the wall or find the shed antler, and because you missed him and he stayed alive and you found the shed and it's another year to hunt it? Isn't that the experience that you're after, rather than the actual? Because when you kill penguin, I'm never going to get a call again from you going, penguin just showed up, leaving the kill plot, and the game's on right there. You're net, once you kill them, it's almost anticlimactic when you are a mega buck killer and you get them dead, right? Mm-hmm. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost more of an experience thing. Like, yeah, it's cool shooting a big deer, but when you're the one planting the food plots, running the cameras, doing the scrapes, and then you actually go in and kill. Yeah, it might not be the biggest deer, but that experience and that putting in that work is more. You get more. The juice is worth the squeeze.
The juice worth the squeeze. Do you think that you would shoot a younger deer? Just, you don't own your own property yet. Your dream is to own a piece of property, and it will happen. But you hunt family ground, but you have uncles that may get on it that you didn't. You're like, man, I left it alone all week, and then he went out there just to walk around. You're like, oh gosh. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. But when you're in that scenario, do you believe, when you go put in the plots and you go do whatever you're going to do, whether you have to, because you had to rent a tractor or use your grandpa's or something to put in these 2 little plots, right, on this little piece of woods?
Yep, I just use the neighbor's stuff, actually.
Yeah, you just borrow it or work it off or whatever.
Yep.
If you go put that in and you kill one out of that, and let's say he's a 3.5-year-old or a 4.5-year-old, and that there's bigger deer that will be in that woodlot because it's Indiana, and they go from woodlot to woodlot and they get bumped out of here and they'll come in there, and you got this little safety zone, and you got the does, and they've been feeding there on the clover, on the alfalfa, and eating your soybeans. If you kill a 3.5-year-old with your bow or even with a gun on your setup, is that more rewarding at 27 years old than it was killing that big one when you were young with a shotgun that you just went out there and sat somewhere and the sun came up and you blasted them and you're so excited? Like, what to you is different? Me, I'm numb to it. Like, it's a job to me, whether I get paid for it or not. Like, not, when I did television, I had the big deer that I had to kill. Because that was the content. But I also shot some deer that were kind of tweeners because they came running in and were fired up and I killed them. But for me, it is what I set out to do. And when I do it, there is a sense of accomplishment and there is a sense of just relief. And there is a sense of, but I get excited, but I'm pretty numb. I mean, it's what I want to do. And I think most people are like, I can't believe it happened. And I'm like, well, if you really believe that you can't believe it happened, like, why are we doing this? Why are we setting up? Why are we doing work? So for me, it's like, I knew it would happen. It was just a matter of time. And I knew if I worked at anything, it would happen. Sometimes the deer is bigger. Sometimes it's a different deer. And sometimes it's the one you're after. So what is that to you?
I'll shoot anything.
Which choice, which experience is better? The one in the food plot that you created, you did all the work, or that guy that just goes once a year for those Indiana's a little longer, Illinois 3-day gun season, goes out there to the same stand he's been sitting in, sun comes up, enjoying this 3 days, gonna try to shoot the biggest buck he can and a doe, and you shoot the same deer, or how do those two things differ?
Honestly, I think it's kind of the same feeling. I feel like, because this guy might not have all the time in the world,
but to you,
to me, yeah,
100%. If you had to pick
I'd rather kill one in a plot.
If you just started right now You would pick the one that you did the work and did the woodsmanship and learned the value of frost seeding that we're going to talk about right now. Frost seeding. I don't think you've put in any switch yet, right? But you did a little miscanthus.
Yep, did some miscanthus around the blinds and the edges.
The work never stops. You can go as big and as crazy as you want. You can spend as much money as you want. And I really think that's why there's so many people, starting if you hear a dog in the background, it's not Bryce making noises, is a little dog snoring. Disclaimer, you are single, so I mean, I don't know, I try to get you married off and they'd be thinking like you're snoring like a dog here in the middle of the day. But you can start with frost seeding. You can go on to beans, which you can disc in, or you can drill, or you can get a John Deere 7000, or shout out to Wagner Implements, Northern Illinois. He makes 15 row. He really makes anything implements, but he makes this 15 row like foodplot Kevin has. That might be the foodplot master machine, which is 15-inch rows that you just get different discs, and you can plant everything from beans to sorghum to radishes to switchgrass to everything. So it's something cool we're messing with, but foodplot Kevin has mastered it, right? So putting in those things, getting that experience, getting your hands dirty. If you're not doing it, you heard it right here from Bryce Liberty, that it is better than just waking up, watching the sun come up, and blasting a big one.
Oh, it's like,
well, I mean, I have a lot. I think that number is 160, right? How many times have you broke 160?
4.
4 times. How many times you broke 160? Once. Because, and that was big dog. That was mega.
That was mega.
So you got 2 guys that hunt hard and hunt some good ground. Once and 4, right? We're not going to talk about my number because I'm a psychopath. And it's a lot, but that 160 seems to be like that. If I could just kill a 160, like that's everybody. I just want a 160. Shout out to Joe, because Joe just wants to kill a 160. He doesn't care if it's a year and a half old. And that's where you get into what the hunter guys talk about, which is high grading and high grading whitetails. And that is, if you can shoot 160 at 2 years old, do you do it?
I do.
And dude, I just love that he's so truthful.
He's like, oh yeah.
He's like, oh yeah. So that is, so me, no. Like I can't do that. Like I personally, I can't do that. And why? Dude, I got to see what they got it. At the, I shot what I thought was a 4-year-old. I think Dave, Royce calls him David now that he's mounting him. He calls him David. He's a proper deer. David, I ran around the yard, onto the lease, all over every farm, and I ended up catching up with him full moon October 28th and killed his butt dead. He had giant G2s. I just saw this deer kind of old school, not in a plot, and killed him. And I was willing to shoot him, whether he was a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, but I knew he was at least 4. But those younger ones, man, I got to get them to 4. And then if you can get them to 6, every deer is giant at 6, even if he's a 120-inch apex, right? And then, what do you believe you would do if you saw a 2-year-old that was 160? Could you hold yourself back?
What?
That's high.
Absolutely not.
Okay, there's a good topic. Where you hunt. Where you hunt. Do you own property? Do you own property? You don't own property. On a property that you don't own, that you can't control, do you shoot that deer?
Absolutely, I'm shooting that deer.
Yep. If you owned that property, would you shoot that deer?
Still, with the woodlots where I'm at.
You only got one 160 on the wall. You probably kill him.
Oh, I'm going to kill him.
Right. I don't want you to be my neighbor. Anyways, so these are the good topics, you guys. I mean, these are the things that we like to talk about. We like to listen to the Hunter podcasts and a couple of these other ones. We find these subjects, but then we can dissect them, because there's not a lot of people that have had the opportunity to be as blessed as I have, to be able to do my career, travel across the world, and then be able to actually be a complete madman about whitetail strategy and be able to hunt some of the biggest deer. Now, that didn't happen overnight, and that happened by the fact that the first phase I went through said, I want to hunt a place that I have a lot of deer. That was number one. Then it went to like, I want to hunt a place that has multiple 3 or 4 year old deer, and I'm going to kill my 2 a year in Illinois. And then I'm going to find a place in Ohio and whatever, and I wanted to travel. And then it got to a point where I'm like, these 3-year-olds are cool, but if you're going to make an outdoor television show, if anybody wants to be cool and make an outdoor television show, the fastest way to be cool is to slaughter 12 4-year-olds across the country and have them when you shoot them and they do a backflip, or if you're Bomar and you buy a $200,000 camera and shoot at like 943,062 feet per second cameras, and then the like red cameras and stuff like that, and then show that arrow. Like, I watched it today. I think he shot at like all these Africa things that you had me watch TikTok for a little bit. I watched Bomar fire arrows, and those frames per second on just those clips were more frames per second than Will Primos put out in all of the Truth series of DVDs for the past 15 years. He had more clips and frames of those clips than Will Primos and Cuz and all the Mossio guys and everybody in their entire outdoor television career, because you understand how things work, right? You people at home know that television, or what you're watching right now on YouTube, happens because the camera has a shutter speed. Well, these slow-mo cameras are just really fast lenses that bring in a lot of light, and then you have to have the light banging and really hot, and they're bringing in a lot of light, and then the camera goes so fast clicking pictures that you're able to slow it down. That's how you're creating slow-mo. And so Bomar's out there shooting everything in super duper slow-mo, and it's pretty baller. You can see all this 4 fletches just spin and spin and spin, and they're doing great. I had a funny thing where Josh is hard to love. He's hard to love sometimes because well, you can't be a big giant guy all jacked up and looking like that. And he welcomes catching his truck and things on fire and loves the chaos. And as a producer, you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then as a hater, you go like, Josh, you're over the top. You need to back off a little bit. But that's not his personality. So I have learned after the Hunter podcast, where I kind of gave him a hard time, and then they called Josh and they said, hey, Brackett kind of slammed you a little bit. Are you cool? And Bomar says, you know what? That guy helped explain how to film outdoor television to me, how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He spent hours with me and my wife teaching me before I got into filming and whatever. And he said, Brackett can say whatever he wants. So after that, I really felt as a personality, and as I'm supposed to be this mentor, and I'm also this alpha male. And as I went through it, I went, well, I kind of gave him a hard time a little bit. He also handled it like a man, and he was like, I don't really care, dude. I'm shooting things in 9,346, 36 feet per second videos in Africa and just killing my life and buying thousands of acres in Iowa. He doesn't really care what I say. But he also knows that I maybe give him a hard time, but I also don't mean it. It's a fun he's a controversial guy. I mean, it's a fun subject to talk about. So, I mean, like, look at his goals. His goals, I believe, are to kill hundreds of 200-inch deer, and to do it while setting trucks on fire and owning like all of South Iowa, which are great goals.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a dream, really.
Yeah. And he's got like 2 million people on YouTube right now, right? 2 million?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what this thing
Close
said? Congrats, Josh. One day I want one of these YouTubes right here, one of them little plaques, but not because I have to have one, because it would just be fun. So you can make fun of me, get me some of that love there on YouTube or whatever. Anyways, good times. Did I miss anything right there? Sometimes I skip over stuff because I get all wound up. Dog sleeping good?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Bryce? So experience over, waking up in the morning, grabbing your slug gun, sitting in a tree stand that you build out of 2x4s, and then just shoot a big buck and whatever. So if they're not doing the experience.
Well, I mean, that's for me. I mean, other people, their experience is going to be different. I mean, that might be.
Is that what you'd tell them to do, though? Go for the experience, go for the frost seeding? Because there's a lot of people that have never frost seeded. We have been getting slammed. Somebody put out a video or something hit the world by storm because everybody I know is frost seeding like they just invented it. And old farmers and old people like me that got white beards go, you didn't listen to us for the last 7 years about it.
Right.
Would you tell them to get into some type of prep work, some type of something? If they're just the people
Just
hunting,
anything to get in to make the experience better, because I think that we've gotten so far away from it, and everybody's about killing this big giant deer, and it's got away from the experience. Which killing big deer is awesome, it truly is. But you could kill a 120, but you have all this experience, and you put the plots in or whatever. Like,
what do you do? Because I know you don't own land. What has your experience been in Indiana? So Indiana is a great place because it's not Illinois. Indiana arguably has some of the greatest hunting pressure that I've ever seen in the Midwest, but still producing world record, world class animals. And how they get away from you guys, uh, I believe that you have some of the large. Let me go on record as this. For the record, I believe that you have the largest 4-year-old whitetail, 3.5 and 4.5-year-old whitetail. A lot of them being typicals on the planet Earth, and probably some of the youngest high grading genetics on the planet, because I've seen too many giant deer come out of Indiana, and there's no way these deer get into 5 and 6 and 7 years old. You guys, because of how you're right straight wall or all
any
firearm,
yeah, pretty much
season,
you want. You can shoot anywhere from a 243 to
2 weeks
I believe, right around full 2 weeks
in the rut.
Oh yeah, right in the middle of the rut.
I don't believe your deer are making it to 5, and so all these 200 type deer, these giant typical whitetail deer, I don't think they're making it to the age class, which is telling me that it's high grading and getting really big, really fast, really young, and still getting the numbers. You had an encounter with one that you had to finish off one that was a giant. I don't think that was very old.
No, I believe he was only 3.5 probably.
And he was a mega giant, and the kid got the deer. He's the one that slowed it down and shot it, and it was all game warden there and all this stuff. And and that was one of those I recommended you. Hey, call him, let this guy's rule on it, whatever. And so, but I think that deer was young.
Yep.
I mean, I really do.
Yep.
He was 180 inches.
I think they
maybe in the 70s,
71 or something like that.
But he was framed up giant. I think he was young.
Giant.
And then, and so to me, I think that becomes the experience when you get to Indiana. And where I was going with the question before I kind of tailed off like I do is, when you don't own land, have you had any of the stuff you've either leased or got permission from? Have you been able to do a little plot? Have you been able to get permission in an old pasture piece of ground or anything like that that you can say like, hey, I can clear some trees around the edge of the field for you with a chainsaw, but I'd really like to maybe frost seed some clover and, kill a little area and throw some turnips in, or, do something like that. What is I'm pretty far removed from that. I either pay to lease it, and in the lease I negotiate or I ask. When I buy it, of course, I'm turning everything into deer bedding or food. I own it. I don't really care. That's why I bought it. So what do you do when you're a guy asking for permission, got a permission piece? Are you able normally to be able to get something in the corner?
I'm sure.
Like a corner of a field or an old homestead or something.
I'm sure you could negotiate that with.
Yeah, but you personally.
Me personally, no, I have not. The only thing I've been able to do is on Grandpa's 150, 200 acres. I got 3 acres. It was right up next to the woods. Nothing really grew that well anyway.
So do your buddies get permission on ask pieces?
My one buddy did, yes. It was just an old piece of pasture ground. It used to be a horse pasture.
Do you think that could be more common? I come back to communication a lot. Like, if they saw the quality of work that your intention is, do you think that guys could take the look at, hey, Mr. Farmer, you've been farming for 40 years. Can you teach me how to put this little thing in maybe grab your old drill or whatever. Like, do you think if they approach it as a bonding experience more than just, this is my permission, man, that kid never stops by anymore and talks to me or helps me out with stuff. How would you go about that? Like, I'm removed from it. Like, I don't know the next piece that I'll just get a permission piece for that has bigger deer than what I'm hunting.
This is true. Yeah, I think, well, nowadays everything is so weird with, because kids don't play outside anymore.
Right.
And nobody helps farmers. Like, nobody helps, like, a lot of these farmers that go the bale hay or straw.
It doesn't happen
There's
anymore.
no kids that do it anymore.
No.
So I believe if somebody wanted to maybe get the opportunity to put a plot in, go help the farmers.
Okay, easiest thing I always said to do was if you can go figure out how to get that farmer, and it might be the fact that you go figure out a side hustle, which might be bussing tables or bar backing at a bar, or whatever you can do to go make a couple $1,000. And I know a lot of people just went, whoa, my God, a couple $1,000. Listen, y'all spend that stuff doing stupid things all the time and betting on all this, sports betting that's out there right now. You can save that money. And if you just take that money and you went to that farmer and said, can I buy 3 acres of beans? But you have to, like, to me, I don't know where the juice is, where the squeeze, because if you were to buy a bunch of beans to build up a property, you're going to build up the equity in the property, and then that guy's going to end up leasing it out from under you. I think maybe that I'm answering my own question here, that might be the fear.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You're cutting your nose off to spite your face. So you're going to have some type of statute of frauds.
Yep,
statute of frauds where you got a contract, right? So statute of frauds, which is your contract. So you got to get a contract and kind of lock down these places. I think instead of hearing people complain about them losing their leases, why wouldn't a farmer take money and help to lock down something and then explain to the farmer how you're building not only whitetail equity, but if you're able to do food plots, he's going to be building land equity that's also not just going to become a tillable farm, but it's also going to have some rec capabilities. That's where the land guy, the Landlife, the Herman Brothers agent, Illinois agent right here comes out. Is you're like, I think you could take a stand and say, I'm going to help build your equity, not only with the whitetails and the critters, because your property is going to sell for more if you've got some uncredible trail cam pictures, but right, you might be able to convince them to keep that, but you better put that thing on lock. You better lock it down.
Yeah, I mean, to circle back on that, actually, we lost, I want to say about 400 acres roughly, is after Dad shot his first 170. Showed the farmer out of respect, go down, like, yeah, look at this, killed this, whatever. He takes a few pictures, and next year, he's like, oh, we leased it out.
Yeah.
All of them.
You're building that equity for them.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you kind of got to lock it down and say, hey, listen, I'm willing to pay for it. Because I do hear a lot of old timers just tripping out about, I lost my property, dang outfitters and dang this and whatever. And it's like, well, it is capitalism. It is a free country. It is, probably communication, talking to them about how they're building up the farm. And so now that we've talked about building up the farm, let's get to it. Right now, everybody's talking about switchgrass. Right now is the perfect time for clover. So clover is the number one thing that you can frost seed. And in frost seeding, you are throwing down a seed into exposed dirt. Now, this may be 50% exposed dirt. There may be grass on top of it. It may be in a turnip brassica food plot that you've already done. Let me explain to you truly the easiest thing that you can do in the world, which is to start a food plot and to build equity in a piece of land that you're working or you're doing. Here's the fastest way I can explain it, and then I can circle back. If I have a piece of property and I have, after this snow and rain and whatever it is, and it looks like my yard, I can take the grasses down. This is not ideal situation, but I'm just telling you how you can do it. You could go in there into an area that looks like your yard. completely full of grass. You could take 20 pounds to the acre of a good perennial clover. I recommend white gold clover rush. You could go in there. This is like a 6 blend white clover blend, small seeds. And rule of thumb is you want to get a seed uh, two-thirds the size of the seed into the ground, just covered. That is how you get good seed to soil contact. You get something to where it's locked up and that seed's able to germinate and do its thing. So a little bitty seed doesn't have to go far into the dirt. Now, does it have to be dirt or material? So you can take a grass. This is probably one of the biggest questions I get. Well, if there's leaves and there's grass there, can I still frost seed it? Yes. The answer is yes. Throw the seed down, but make sure it's super heavy. So like 20 pounds to the acre. Normally on clover, you're 10 pounds to the acre. If you are frost seeding, go heavy. Spend the extra $60. Whatever it is, put it down heavy. Then you can get your mower or your tractor and you can mow this grass as short as you can down to the mud. And those little grass clippings will fall over the top of this seed, insulating it. Now it doesn't even need to freeze and thaw. It's just sitting there. And the reason why we're frost seeding clover is it loves the cold. It's built for cold. It's built for cool. It's built for cool, wet, dampy spring that's coming, which is 60 degrees, 70 degrees, and the nights are 30s and 40s. And everything kind of stays in that temperature of 50-degree, cool season. Grow your grass and grow your clovers. And as the clover germinates and it starts growing, okay, this little stuff is going to start germinating earlier than everything else that you're going to plant. Soybeans, corn, all them. Those are all warm weather things. So you're going to put this clover down. You're going to mow this grass. This grass clippings are going to go over it. The clover is going to germinate. The grass is still going to grow as well. So let's call that a weed. We want to one day take that out. But right now it's acting as a nurse crop. It's hiding the little seed that's just starting and coming up. Now, about every 2 weeks from now, as soon as you put that clover down, keep mowing that grass. You're keeping it at bay. You're giving the chance for the clover to catch up to the size of the grass. And then once that clover catches up to the size of the grass that's growing or the weeds, remember, you keep mowing it. Now you're going to get to a point where it's about June. It's going to about end of May. Turkey season's right. You've kept this mowed. The clover's up. It's got all these little guys that have been fighting and being protected from the harsh weather, and it's getting up. And you cut the grass at the same as the clover. And now we're going to zap the grasses and weeds, and we're going to use, my choice is to order online IMOX, IMOX. Yeah, Chris, but what about Arrest? Rest is a fine product, but normally you're a Rest, or there's the other one. What's the other Whitetail Institute one? There's an Arrest and there's another one. Those are made for clover, okay? There's an Arrest and a whatever. Those are fine. But really what they are is butyrate and clethodim. Butyrate and clethodim. Butyrate will take care of other broadleaves in your clover, and they will zap them, and you can use a crop oil or something with them. Arrest, I believe it's clethodim. It is, if the active ingredient is clethodim, and clethodim is where you take. Can you say that? Clethodim. Yep, clethodim is a a grass out. You'll see it kind of labeled. Hey, this gets my grass on my clover. You are taking clethodim and you're getting the grasses out. Now, these are chemicals that I use, but I use them in different applications. The one that I'm going to go to when I'm planting clover is I'm going to go to IMOX. I believe it's around 5 ounces or 6 ounces. Slay. I could almost read his mind. Arrest and Slay are a Whitetail Institute deal, but both of them are butyrate and clethodim, they're based. So you can buy them in big bulk. They just sell them in smaller bulk, normally with their stuff, normally at a store. You're going to pay a little more because they're going to be a little smaller. That's okay. That does the same thing. But I'm going to recommend IMOX. IMOX is going to zap every weed and every grass. And I know I got purists at heart that love to tell me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And they're going to say, it does not kill all of them, Chris. Okay, listen, I get it. Most of them, 99.9% of the things that are growing in my clover, I don't know about yours, but in my clover, if I spray it with 5 to 6 ounces per acre of IMOX. Now, also read the label, disclaimer, read the label. I'm just saying, in my sprayer, and I've done all the calculations and whatever, per acre, I'm using about 6 ounces, 5 to 6 ounces of IMOX per acre. And everything, like the Wicked Witch of the West, I think that's right. Wicked Witch of the West starts melting and the clover starts shooting for the sky. Why? Because the clover isn't affected by the IMOX. Now, I better make sure that I'm right on if I want to keep the chicory in my Clover Rush blend. It has chicory in it. If I want to keep my big rabbit ears of chicory alive, I have to not overmix the IMOX per acre. I have to keep it by the label, which sometimes you can do a little 4 ounce, a little 3 ounce per acre. And that way you're going to maybe just knock back the grasses. You don't actually have to zap them. And now you're going to get your chicory and you're going to get your stuff and everything's going to grow. Don't be too impatient, because you are going to have a very tough time paying attention to the weeds and the grasses in your clover and watching them die, because they don't just zap like a hot shot of 2,4-D and Roundup. They are going to slowly start dying, and the clover is going to shoot up out of the ground and start growing faster. And really what happens is that stuff just gets, and the clover just starts shooting for the sky, and really it just kind of smothers it out and finishes it off. And you can, whatever the label says, like, you can spray that IMOX a couple times. Next thing you know, you're going to have this beautiful clover plot. And you started out and you didn't have a tractor, and you didn't have a disc, and you didn't have anybody come work it up. You didn't have a tiller going. You didn't do nothing. You just did the equity in the land. You did the hard work. You listened to somebody that knew what they were talking about, and you went out and spent the money on the good seed, on the fresh seed, and you bought the right chemical, and you had a sprayer. So you need a spreader. You need a good seed like a Clover Rush from White Gold, and then you need what did I say, sprayer?
Yeah, you said sprayer.
Yeah, sprayer and a spreader. That's what I meant. Spreader, sprayer, and good seed. Like Clover Rush is what we use. This is one of our sponsors and one of our teammates that have been for a while, supported me while I was down and out and was trying to rebuild my life, was White Gold. White Gold, the guys from White Gold from Michigan. Shout out to Michigan. Everybody I know in Michigan. Mark Baird, shout out to him. Pork chop sandwiches, Mike Van Tubergen. All my friends up there. I got my new client, Chris Wing. Chris Wing, shout out to him. He's awesome. He's going to be doing a big overhaul. We're going to be doing work on his farm, putting in a little pond, little clover, little, miscanthus switchgrass. Like, his farm is going to be balling. Shout out to him. So, I think that the frost seed, me covering that, okay, once you get the clover established, it's looking beautiful. It goes into summer. Once the grass is dead and sprayed with IMOX, you don't have to mow your clover. It is a wise tale. Most people mow their clover. Why? Because they want recreational hours and to blow diesel. You don't have to trim or cut this clover all summer. You can let it get up, reseed itself, go dormant, and it'll just turn purple color and it'll look like it was dying. Just let it chill. Wait till the temperatures again get 50-something degrees, averaging 50-something degrees, 60-degree days in September with a little 40s at night. It's going to average around 50 degrees. When you start feeling those 50 degrees and you're wearing your hoodie, guess what, boys and girls? It's time to mow and trim your little clover, okay? So you boys up in Wisconsin and Michigan and Minnesota, you're going to be trimming in late August when you're wearing hoodies catching walleyes. Okay, listen. Give your clover a trim, but it's only to freshen it up so the new shoots and growths are what the whitetails want to eat. I did an experiment last year on my alfalfa out back here. We have a big field, about 3 acres of alfalfa and clover, and I left most of it, which is really tall alfalfa. The deer kept it mowed, and it was real tall and stemmy because they had eaten it like that. and I hadn't mowed it. And so I went in front of one of the 360s down over here. I'll show you later, down over here. And I decided that a 60 by 40 yard area, which was about just over a quarter acre, right in this little kill zone. So you had this beautiful alfalfa field. Remember that for you guys hunting alfalfa fields that farmers do. If you can do one little trim up right before the season, that new growth is going to be where the deer key in on and come to you as a strategy. So if you've got a big alfalfa field, but you need them within 50 yards of that blind, I went there and mowed it during a week before the season and then during the season, and keeping that fresh growth coming out of the ground and even hitting it with some fertilizer. That's where every deer, whether they came out, hung in the shade, and as soon as that sun got below those trees, they beelined for it. And I have videos that I post on Instagram, Facebook. I was live. I mean, I had 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old deer that were in front of me that they all came to this spot. 20, 30 deer eating in this one spot, and they had 5 acres down over the hill over here to hang out, and they wanted to be on that fresh growth. And so that's just a key when you're hunting clover or alfalfa, that you give it a little trim, especially in your area, and beef up the growth right there before a little warm up, that cold night and then that warm up. That is what they're going to want. You're going to be able to put that bad boy in your lap, So that's kind of how clover is. But I also got a question the other day when me and Royce were doing a Facebook Live. So if you're on Facebook, CHRIS BRACKETT Landlife. On Facebook the other day, I was doing a live in the field frost seeding. And one of Royce's friends said, well, okay, that's great. I've got it all down. I can put out the clover. I can do the frost seeding. I can do the chemical control with the IMOX at 6 ounces essentially per acre. I can do that. But now what do I do when it's time for my fall plots? This is the greatest reason why, if you are a whitetail guy and you're putting in food plots this year, if you're not planting beans or corn or sorghum or this new mother lode from White Gold that I just created, if you're not planting something that needs a spring planting, and you're not buying a crap ton of White Gold Clover Rush or a really good perennial, not all clover is built the same. It's not all fresh, but I can guarantee White Gold is, because they're two guys that I can look in their eyes, and then one of the other guys that's running it, I can look them in their eyes and I know that it's all fresh. We don't have a lot of shelf life, or a lot of it's just direct. These guys are straight direct over the internet. That means that I can't send you down to Kelly C to get some stuff, and it's good too because it's fresh. But these guys don't live around here, so people from all over can just order them. Your friends in Florida, they can just order it and have it shipped to their farm. White Gold, that's what you do. Look up White Gold deer feed. And so if people aren't buying a whole bunch of Clover Rush for every plot that they're going to plant turnips or radishes in later on, or Deadly Dozen from Don, doesn't matter. If you're not frost seeding clover in these spots and putting this clover in so you can use the IMOX to control the weeds, but always be careful. IMOX does have a residual, so don't use it past July. You're going to want a 60-day burnout of that and rains on it to get rid of that, because if you spray too much IMOX on that clover throughout the summer, you are going to hurt your brassica growth as a broadleaf in the fall. So use that IMOX early. And then that's where the butyrate or the clethodim or the slay or the arrest comes in, because those aren't going to hurt and have residual as much as IMOX. So that's the disclaimer there. Don't use that IMOX within 60 days of when you're going to plant your brassicas. But if I were you and I had a farm and I had a food plot that I wanted to do, and I disted it up and I threw down clover and I let it germinate and I let it get up out of the ground and I controlled it with either mowing or chemicals, why would I not want deer eating on all my food plots that I'm trying to train them anyways to eat there? Why would I not want them eating clover all year while I control the weeds? And then I just decide, you know what? I have it completely controlled. I can grab my disc or my tiller and till them all of them under, or I just leave one strip of clover in the middle, or I alternate the strips or whatever, and you're tilling beautiful green clover that's been producing nitrogen in the soil. Why buy nitrogen when you can put some stuff out and it can produce nitrogen in soil. And then you can even create more fertilizer and nitrogen in the soil by tilling under these beautiful green leaves. And then those babies are so just lush and beautiful and young that you can put them into the soil and they'll break down fast, feeding the plant, feeding the turnip, feeding the radish, and feeding like the gold fever blend that I use. Or you can put some Klondike on there. And so you're just going in, striping these things. Wherever you want to put brassicas, leave you a little bit of that clover. Go put the brassicas in, go put the grains in, and you're putting it into a perfect bed it's got earthworms in it, and it's got the roots of the clover, and it's just no weeds. You're going to have the most beautiful brassica plots and the most beautiful fall plots because you've had it in clover. Why? Because you spent an extra $150, whatever it was, to put the clover down, and you've got a little spray early in the year, but you've controlled your weeds. Now you don't have to come in and you're not having to mow everything and turn it over and get all this thatch off. And now you're putting the brassicas in, you're putting everything else. And then you would say, then what, Uncle Bubby?
Yeah, then what, Uncle Bubby?
Well, then, Brycey Poo, we would go ahead and grab some more clover next March, and we would put it back down and frost seed into our turnips and our radishes and our gold fever. And then the process would start all over. And we never have to kill another weed again now, because now there was nothing that created a weed seed that got into our system. We might have some leftover little yellow things and some turnips and stuff coming up, or some wheat or something like that, but that's only going to protect the new growth of the clover once again. And you're going to have turkeys in there that have learned there's always going to be something there for them to eat, and you just keep this process up forever. But so many people neglect early season right now, going out and putting a seed because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to control it with the chemicals, and then they'll battle it come July. We'll get those phone calls. Hey man, CHRIS Brackett's Game Changers Land Management, can you come out and put this plot in for us? Maybe. Send us a picture. It'll be 4 foot tall of thistles and weeds and grasses, and you just literally go, sorry man, I can't beat that. And then sometimes you're like, okay man, well I'll come out for one day and we'll just spray and kill everything, and then we're just going to no-till right into it, and you got a 50-50 shot of how good it comes in. And that's my helpful Uncle Bubby Landlife tip is go put clover down. Understand that you don't need frost to frost seed. You need mud soil connection with a clover. As the nights get down into, let's say, the 40s or 30s, and you get this freezing and thawing of this kind of mud, and you get this opening up and you get this tightening of the soil. And all it's going to do is all you're doing is working these teeny tiny seeds into that dirt, and just for good contact. Do you have anything else to add? Did I miss anything? What would, right now, listening to that, and you know how to frost seed, but you didn't always. You learned from me, right?
Right.
So what is the question that someone right now at home would be asking?
I think you did a pretty
Anybody?
good job.
Do I fertilize and lime, and can I frost seed anything else outside of clover during this period?
Okay. The question or the directiveness of that was fertilizer or lime. Do I need it? And if so, what? And the second part of that was?
Is there anything else outside of clover that I can pay attention to during
Right.
this time?
Okay, I'm going to address the first one. Fertilizer, lime. Your farms are in Illinois. You don't need to do anything. But the guys that aren't in Illinois, the guys that aren't spoiled like us, you're going to want to look at your pH. You have to understand that I don't want to mess something up and go, man, that guy doesn't know crap. Clovers, I'm just going to say it this way. Clovers and alfalfas love lime. So if I had to pick one, I would say this. Most soils out there, especially in the Midwest region, unless there's a harsh, weird condition, some outlying thing, I would say 80% of the soils in Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Wisconsin, if it's just timber dirt, good dirt, most of them are just going to need some pH work with a lot like a lime, and not all lime is the same. So one of the things that you'll want to write down for what you're about ready to do to your farm is there's a Cal Turf lime that I learned about this through Ray Reeves and the boys from Wildlife Genesis Wildlife Group out in Oswego, New York. Owego, New York, I think. They raise the master at this kind of, he says, I got the green thumb and I got the strategy, but this guy knows how to grow stuff on rocks. They got rocks out there in New York. And he explained to me that he said, hey, most of the pelletized lime, this is not the stuff that you go get the big spreader from the ag farm place up the road, the FS, the whatever, the Bordeaux brothers up there in Vermont and up there in New York and Maine and stuff. It's not as good as the Bordeaux brothers coming out there and spreading it for you. But if you are going to Menards or you're going to the farm store and you're buying bags of pelletized lime, look on that thing, and it's going to say this covers 1,000 square feet. Do you know how many? Okay, Mr. Realtor that hasn't passed this test yet. Do you know how many square feet are in a square or in an acre? How many square feet are in an acre? Do you guys know?
43,560.
There you go. Do you know what on a bag of pelletized lime that we'll go buy at Menards, 40 or 50 pound bag, we'll fill a pickup truck full of them. How many bags, ready for this? How many square feet does a normal bag cover? 1,000 square feet. That's it. Does that dog want to come cuddle? Come up. She can come cuddle with me. Okay, is she snoring?
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know this until I learned all this from Ray. And I never looked at this. I'd always be like, hey, I'll buy 3 bags of fertilizer, guys. I'm going to throw this down and I'm going to buy me 4 bags of lime. Until Ray showed me this and taught me. He is the master. He says, look at it. Most of them are, I'm going to say 1,000 square feet per bag, which means how many to raise your pH level 1 degree, fast-acting lime, garden lime, pelletized garden lime. We need 43 bags, man. 43 bags for 1 acre. 43 bags. So before you put a fertilizer on that ground, you need 43 to 44 bags per 50-pound bag of fertilizer. You need lime, 44 bags. Like, so you should be putting more lime. You should be putting more lime than you should fertilizer always. That's the answer to that first part of the question. So if yours is like, well, I don't remember the last time I used lime, I just keep putting fertilizer down. Here's how Uncle Ray has taught me this. You can only put so much water in, is that a Stanley out there that you have?
No.
What's it? What kind is it?
It's a knockoff.
Oh, that a girl.
Hydro Peak.
That a girl. Hydro Peak.
Hydro Peak.
Hydro Peak water, Stanley cups. You guys know your wife or girlfriend has one or a knockoff. Mine doesn't. She's just got this little coffee cup that I got her. So it fits her little hand. It keeps her hands from when she drinks her coffee in the morning. It keeps them warm. You can put so much fertilizer in a cup, right? And he's saying to me, the more lime you put in the ground, the more lime you put in the ground and the higher that pH is going to unlock the potential of the fertilizer to be used into the plant. Because the ground can't, the lime is the unlocking the potential of the nutrients into the plant. So so guys, you don't know until you know, and you don't know until you know. And if you want to know more, you got to reach out to Ray, but I can only get you so far. So the first thing is you got to understand, read the bag and see how far that goes and what that does. But at the end of the day, if you're not liming, you're losing. And if you're losing all the fertilizer you're putting on it, there's a really good chance that if you just limed, you wouldn't have, my stomach's rolling. That one's not the dog. That's my stomach. If you're liming, you're going to be able to unlock a lot of that fertilizer that's already decaying and in your soil. So let's just say if you're planting clover, you can lime anytime. That's one of Ray's lines. Lime anytime and always be liming. Always be liming. We should make shirts like that. Covered in lime dust. Always be liming. Lime is your key. And here's the cool part. I don't know where we get it except for to order from Ray. But you need a pallet and I need a pallet. We probably should get after that. Ordering from Ray at Genesis Wildlife Group. He's got the hookup. Cal, turf, lime. One bag of that. How many square feet you think it does? 10,000. 4 bags. Now we're at 4 bags. Now we're at 4 or 5 bags to do with those 44 bags. And it's only like double the price. Like, so the breakdown on it is like, I'm an idiot. I might as well just buy a pallet. So, maybe we'll get a pallet here and people that are local could buy it here. Maybe you can do there. But I don't really want to get in the weeds on that game, but I love to watch the results of it. And if everybody's just, buying these things and putting them down, and remember, you can spend 1 year where this is my year to lime. That's the year that you lime anytime and you put a ton down. And now you don't have to do it for a couple of years. Now you just hit it with fertilizer every year, just give it a little pop. Clover normally doesn't need fertilizer, but boy, when I give it that little trim right there before October 1st and that first couple of weeks of October, that alfalfa and that clover, it would not hurt it to throw down a very standard triple 13 type fertilizer. Now, Ray has also been teaching me about some other things. And what is it that Jeremy from Hunter that they're always selling or pushing, or I think he owns a little bit about it. Plot Start. So
there's one other product.
That's a calcium one. There's some other ones, but
yeah, there's the Plot Start and then I can't remember.
That's after it's growing. But
Right.
Plot Start, one of them you apply to the dirt, and it does the same thing as the lime.
Right.
The other one has fertilizer, and I think you can dump both of them in there when you're first starting one, and it does something with like exfoliating the plant to make it more appetizing or whatever it's doing. It's feeding the leaves rather than feeding the roots, and it's a good right now, fast, boom, bang. And I know that there's some other stuff out there that you can ask some of these old time farmers. They'll tell you some cool stuff to add to alfalfa or clover, but normally you don't need it. But if you really want to learn, that's a really good rabbit hole, because that's one that you're always going to use, always going to know. But there are some leaf nutrients that you can pull in that'll make it pop. And I know some, Whitetail Institute's got one. Colby likes Whitetail Institute stuff, and I've used them before. They're a little big a company for me, just personally, but they have a little bit of everything, and they sell all over the country. I mean, most of the stuff I'm getting is right here, bang, boom, right in the Midwest. So I'm a white gold guy, but I know that they have like an exfoliating whatever from there. I don't really know what it is, but that's a long answer to the first part of your question, but I think it's important. I think lime is more than fertilizer every time. And I think guys don't know about that. And I know we'll be talking about it more over the next couple months. What is the second part of the question?
Is there anything outside of clover that these guys can be planting?
Oh yeah, other stuff that you can frost seed.
Like alfalfa.
Yeah, so alfalfa, everything I just said about clover, you can do with alfalfa. Alfalfa is actually even better. If you have a little drill, I'm a big fan of drilling a light rate of soybeans and alfalfa, Roundup Ready alfalfa at the same time. Now, if you're going to do Roundup Ready alfalfa, a lot of places, they want you to kind of, the Roundup Ready is a little different to buy. I think in some places, I don't think they're as controlled as they once were when they first come out, because they don't want resistant, they don't want it to go back to resistant. So they're wanting to keep it pure. But I have planted Roundup Ready alfalfa in these big fields, and it is my number one draw from right now all the way up to November when I get a frost. It is my number one big buck go-to. And if I've got a little patch of clover, which is kind of like their candy right next to it, and then I have soybeans that are turning from yellow, and it's got 3 or 4 different kind of groups of beans in there that you have, all these pods, and I'm planting that at higher rates because I want smaller beans so my vitals aren't covered on my whitetails. And then I've got this new sorghum blend that goes right in with the soybeans. If I've got all those in one field, I have everything that they need. And then the only thing they need for late, because there's only like 2 or 3 times I think throughout the year. One is antler dropping time when you get a warm up and they're not eating a bean or a corn and they need some greens in their stomach. That's when they're going to hit those radishes hard. And that's when you have to have a little bit of brassicas. And some of that stuff, we were talking about drones earlier. You can get a drone. Oh, who was it? John O'Reilly. John O'Reilly's got one. And he said, hey, man, if you know anybody that wants like a cover crop and they don't want to take a tractor into like some of your big steep stuff, they're doing it for affordable prices. They're going to go drop, gold fever and brassicas and all these radishes over top all these beans. And they're just going to plug it in and they're just going to drop it. And this is affordable stuff now that's coming out. I never thought that I'd be overseeding entire fields of soybeans and corn and whatever, getting those brassicas in there. But, the tough part is I think if that happens, we need to be planting soybeans, not late to keep the green leaves late into October, but we should be rushing to plant maybe a shorter term bean, like a group 2 or 3 rather than a 5, 6, or 7, getting those beans to yellow up earlier, August or September, so we can get the brassicas and the grains in there to cover crop, because we're leaving them standing, and a lot of the farmers, they'll pick them all and then they're putting them in, and they're, where we're located, it's always tough to produce some type of fruit or a tuber on those things because they're just not getting in till September 15th for September 16th, and then you got to watch out for Mr. Green Jeans trying to bust you for shooting doves because they're like, oh, well, you're shooting them over seed. I'm like, well, but I'm planting it. I'm and they could do that. That is the number one training thing for game wardens across the planet is dove hunting. Dove fields, sunflowers and stuff are easy to see from the sky, and they are targeting dove hunters right now. And it's where they write most of their tickets, period, bar none. Like, that is a fact. They're easy to see all the yellow fields, mark them on a map, and roll around and check everybody and give them nice little warning tickets, setting them up for when, if they do mess up, they're going to throw the book at them. And that's not to say that they're not doing their job, but it's also my warning to say, make sure you're legal. I'm not doing anything but saying, make sure you're legal. That is the fastest and easiest way for them to identify where you're hunting is these big, giant, beautiful sunflower fields, and they know people are going to love it. They're going to be out there. So make sure you're legal. That's it. But also warning, make sure you're legal because sunflowers are easy. Sunflowers are easy to identify and what's going on. And so do I think that there's other things you can frost seed? With much success? No. I have 2 friends last weekend, that frost seed switchgrass. And switchgrass is a ghost. It's a little hard to understand, especially when you've got Jeff Sturgis and some of these guys recommending. Don Higgins used to say that he would just frost seed switchgrass. And I say, no, don't do it. But if you have to, make sure anytime you're frost seeding, make sure it's at a higher rate. Number 2, make sure you know your pre-emergent chemicals. If you're just throwing a bunch of grass seed in your yard and you already have, let's say clover, let's say the opposite of that, you're trying to get grass established in clover, you have to kill the competition. And so if you have all these annual weeds that are going to come up, through hundreds of years of seed dispersal in the soil, and you're like, oh, if I frost seed it, it'll be good. Well, realize this, that switchgrass seed does not germinate until the soil is, let's say, 65 or 67 degrees. It will be late May or early June before it's even going to germinate. And so stratification is a good thing. But right now, if I was going to do switchgrass, and we're doing it the next 2 weeks, we are going to wait for the soil to get a little crumblier from being dry. It's always tacky this time of year because of the snow and the cold. We are going to no-till in switchgrass, and then we are going to spray it with either atrazine or simazine. And we are going to spray it at quite a high rate because I don't want nothing to grow. But remember, always follow the label. That's my disclaimer. But I might I might put it down quite heavy. It might look like white milk all over the ground. But I don't want anything else growing. Realize that the switchgrass seed is a live seed, and the pre-emerge that goes down, atrazine or simazine, will keep most things from germinating in the soil. The water will wash it in, it will sit there, and it won't let the other weed seeds that are not live seeds activate and grow. And the switchgrass is a live seed, so it's alive and it doesn't care about that, and it will grow. This is normally a 60-day pre-emerge that's going to keep everything else from growing. Now you're going to have to go back in after this stuff germinates in June or July. And if you want a monoculture type situation, or you have too much foxtail, or you have stuff that has survived and is coming up, that's going to be on another podcast. But you're going to hit it with XLR8 or quinclorac. And quinclorac and XLR8 are crabgrass killers that were made for the front yards and the grasses of all the guys wanting their yards to look like golf courses. And it actually works on foxtail and all these weeds in switchgrass. And it is unbelievable, and it is a game changer. It is 2,4-D round 2,4-D quinclorac, and hit it with some more simazine in the middle of the year. You golden. You're gonna have 6 foot tall switchgrass first year. So if you want to hire us or have online consults, you can get a hold of me, and I will do online consults right here on my computer in my office, and I will walk you through all those questions. You have questions about, hey man, can you go over that and personally teach me about clover? Can you personally teach me about radish? Can you personally teach me about sorghum? These are things that I can do over the internet. I have a witness here with me today that I just ran through his farm online. I know there's other consultants that are big in the industry that charge way more than me, that says you cannot break down a farm using the internet. I will say that 99.9% of the humans probably cannot. I will get you how far?
Far.
Percentage wise, I will get you way past the value of buying me for an hour online.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's it. And then you get to decide, okay, now that makes sense. I should back out of there, or I should press in here, or I should move my food out here, or I never looked at the wind. I never looked at the topography. One of the things that you guys found interesting was the 3D.
Yes.
Right. So like I use Onyx. They don't pay me. I would like a check. It would be fun to be sponsored. I'd put Onyx right here. Okay. I use them every day. I use them every day in my business. That's what we use. Not any of these other ones, Onyx. I remember when I was at a show and they were first starting out, and I thought to myself, now remember, I also had a phone that was attached to the wall with a cord. I also watched a black and white TV, even though the color TV was right when I was born. I was born in 77. I explained that you didn't have YouTube, and the only way to get published anywhere was either in a magazine or burning your own DVD to distribute the flying fish stuff way back in the day. So understand that keeping up with the technology and understanding that you can look at the 3D imagery on Onyx. When I met these people, they handed me, I might still have the card in my in my, like my papers, in my folders on my deal. They gave me a free year. Here's my free year to use Onyx. And I literally went, when will I ever use that? My bad, egg on my face. I use it every day, all day. And I love the progressions that it's making. So shout out to Onyx. I don't know who owns it now, but I know that there was a girl and a guy younger in their 20s, and they were super excited about it. And it's not that I scoffed. I just was like, I don't even know if we had the cell phones that we have nowadays, because I thought, like, I'm not going to go back to my computer and look at my farms on it. But now that we have a computer in our hand, right? Like, I remember them handing me that and going, that's too techie for me. I'm out. Like, I'm just going to go to my farm and do what I do. It probably has to do with my memory, my photographic memory when it comes to land too, where I was like, I don't need that. Now it is my number one tool in what I do. And so we get on right here face to face on Zoom from this camera, from this computer, and I will walk you through. And sometimes I meet up with clients, and my friends came over today, first time we got to meet, and we're doing some fun projects and stuff and looking at their farms, and sat down on the computer and started ripping through and said, do you want me to just cut to the chase? I'm going to show you what I would do here and concentrate on your main farm and then go from there. What we're really looking for is we're looking for how many traps we can set. We don't want too many. We want enough that we can utilize what the farm's going on. We got to utilize how we're going to put the deer on your property instead of hunting the neighbor's deer. Instead of having everything spread out, we're going to make it all to where they literally go to bed and they come to feed. They go to bed and they come to feed and they get really chill. And I'm about ready to cough. But it's really cool, man. Onyx and just either having a face-to-face on here, or I'm leaving for Tennessee. I think I got to call the guy today, and he said he was ready a week ago. I'm ready to get to Tennessee. Be warm this week, walking those mountains. I know I'm going to Madison, Wisconsin this week, and I know my other guys next weekend. They're not far from you. Next weekend, I'll be over walking 2 farms. Over in, I don't know, down 24 somewhere toward Beardstown, Rushville, somewhere around there. But Illinois dirt, Wisconsin dirt, and Tennessee dirt. Did I miss anything? That was a blazing hour of a lot of info, and my brain hurts, and I'm definitely hungry. And I know the puppy's snoring, so put him away, put him to sleep. What else we got?
I know we talked about the clover and just straight alfalfa, but you came up with a new blend that's got both.
Well, yeah, that one's not really new, but I did post about it this week. Clover Rush is by far my go-to, which is like 6 perennial blends of white clover. Not all clover blends are built the same. Everything that is in Clover Rush is a perennial. If you don't know what a perennial is, it's something that comes back every year. It's like rose bushes in your mom's front yard, or the flowers in her front yard. It's something that comes back every year. An annual is every year. Annually, you have to plant it, and it comes up, and it's beautiful and leaves and whatever. There's a lot of clovers out there that fall into a place where, don't be fooled. Like, there are some things like, I believe, Berseum clover. We discussed that. A lot of people add that to their mixes. That just means that you have to add some more every year, frost seed. That's a good practice anyway. So if you have a mix that has Berseum clover, crimson clover, realize that they're not coming back the next year. They're a really good annual. A lot of guys use them for a cover crop because they're only an annual. But if you're using the practice of frost seed every spring, they will work for you. With Clover Rush, you may not have the extra money. You may not have the extra time. So you can frost seed Clover Rush one time and have it run for 6 years if you take care of it and you control the weeds. But I am so in love with alfalfa that we came out with one called Strike Force, isn't it? Isn't that the pink one that I was putting out the other day? Gold Strike? It's a Gold Strike.
Gold Strike.
Yeah. I mix the two together. That way I have the big white leaves of the Clover Rush, and then I have the alfalfa, a little bit of it in the Strike Force or the Gold Strike. I think it's Strike Force. And Strike Force, Gold Strike. I don't know. Check it out. But that's how you get a little bit of alfalfa. Difference between alfalfa, I believe the protein on alfalfa is better than the clover. But what I do know is, I'm not the biologist, but I do know I watch deer every single day of my life, and I watch them eat alfalfa over clover 80% of the time. When they go to the clover, they're normally just blazing right through the clover, and they're just eating it like candy, and they just kind of keep going. When they're in the alfalfa, they camp on the alfalfa, they get a lot of protein. We do have 3 new blends that are Landlife series blends from White Gold that I might as well tell everybody about. One is Fort Knox. Fort Knox is a mix of just nice, healthy, fresh seed that is the switchgrass. It's 3 different kinds. mixed, just nice, good for bedding, not too tall, very sturdy. I didn't spend the last 20 years making sure they're perfect. They're just nice blends of good, kind of cave in rock, just Tecumseh, RC. Like there's a good mixture in there of switchgrass that will do very well for you because the seed's fresh. Like that's all I really care about. Um, and then being able to put that down at 2 to 5 pounds an acre, depending on what you're doing. Are you trying to block? Are you trying to make shields? Or are you trying to give it to a little more sparse so they bed in it? If you don't have it sparse, they're not bedding in it. If you don't go let some weeds and stuff grow up in it, they don't want to bed in it. They'll bed in the first 20 rows on the outside, but it's a big, giant open area, and it's strange. A deer kind of has to be raised in it and pressured. The more pressured your deer are, the more they bed in the switch. My deer are like on vacation half the time. They just bed on the outside. It's good for them. They know how to jump in and get away. And then we have another one. You guys always hear me when I get my gold fever. When I get my brassica blends, you always hear me say, "Well, I'm planting gold fever, but I've got a radish. I've got it radish heavy." So what we did was we did an add bag, like an extra bag that you can add to it to make it Landlifey, really. Like so, you get gold fever, or what's your brassica mix that you use? So mine's gold fever, but so really you can buy. So somebody can buy whatever they've been using. I know one of the ones that's really out there right now. What's the one that comes in the box that's all over the place, and they got like 50 million different names and 50 different SKUs and whatever. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's in these boxes and whatever. It's the new fad with all these cool, crazy designs and all this stuff, and it's really hard to keep up with. We will never be like that. Like I don't own white gold, but that's really hard. It's got like Comeback Kid and Chick something or whatever. It's got all these crazy names. But anyways, it's not bad. It's good seed. Domain, something like that. They're out there. They're good. They look good anyways. But if let's say you bought some of their brassica, you can add Claim Jumper to their mix of brassicas, and it is radishes. So it's only radish and collard greens. Radish and collard greens added to my gold fever is like the greatest brassica mix out there. And then once that's out there, then you can add the grain, the barley, the oats, the rye, the wheat. All of that is in Klondike. So it's a system, right? You get your clover down, you frost seed it, you keep the weeds out. You get to August, you till under your strips in your clover, keep some clover. Till those under, till that clover under, keep that nitrogen growing. Put your brassica down right there. Get your brassicas in, add the other stuff. Get your brassicas in, add your Claim Jumper into it, get your radishes, and plant that all at the same time. You're literally taking this bag and this bag, putting them together, putting them in the ground. Get them 3 or 4 inches out of the ground, big rabbit ears out of the ground. And then hit it with Klondike, which are your grains, into that. Now you got 3 phases. And then wait till, kill your buck, wait till March, put clover back in, and just keep repeating this. And then the only other one that we came up with, I've got it out there, and it is probably one of the most exciting things that I've been, I don't know, brainstorming. So again, I don't own white gold. I've just been working with the guys from White Gold, and I decided to say, like, hey guys, do you mind making this? We don't make this yet. I've been making it. If you watch my Facebooks and my lives and my Instagram, CHRIS Brackett's Landlife, if you watch those, you'll watch me coming up with this concoction. And this concoction is sorghum, peas, soybeans. I think 2 different kinds of sorghum we found, peas, sorghum, and I know radishes. I don't remember if I asked for turnips in it. Maybe. And all of this is in one mix. But listen, this is the stuff you need to try if this is October magic. We're talking about killing a giant in October, and you know where he lives, and he's on one of them side hills, and the water's on top, and he's coming to that alfalfa. if you can plant this sorghum with these soybeans that are stay green and this pea in there, the peas grow up the sorghum stalk. And this keeps the leaves popping, and they love the leaves at a certain time. And then they'll have these little sprouts come off and all that. Then you've got soybeans down in the bottom that they're racing everybody. And then you have, your radishes down at the bottom, and they get huge. They're racing everybody too, and they're planted in May. And it just gets really big. I forget what rate, but I know it's all on the website. They're on white gold right now to go order these bad boys. And, you've got the soybean, then you got the pea. I think there might be 2 peas in there. But the one that vines up and comes up, it's coming and growing up. The sorghum goes, when the sorghum is done, Matt, the sorghum has heads on it with these big red berries. And in October, like clockwork, these suckers will turn from white and they look beautiful. They will turn to red, and those balls will harden up on that thing. Sounds like a personal problem. But you will watch these bucks literally leave, come out, hit alfalfa, and they will ruin it. And it will be gone in a week. It will be gone in 2 weeks. Like, the first thing they're going after is they're going to crush these big heads of sorghum until they're gone. But I've watched deer that I couldn't get killed. Axe, for example. Axe walks out at 3:00 heading, and he had everything to eat, and all he wanted to do was eat those heads. And it was, a lot of it was me going back in my brain going, we planted these pheasant strips, and these big deer in October would walk out of cover to go get this candy on top of this. I was like, man, if I did that, and I've been experimenting with peas, and all my corn got eaten. And so in end of June, I went ahead and put this mix together and tried it really late, but it's an awesome cover crop, and they didn't eat it while it was growing. They waited till it was done. And a lot of my sorghum didn't turn out, but a lot of it did. I'm going to post some pictures this week. We also did a mix where we had sorghum right next to soybeans, and we watched these deer walk through alfalfa, clover, and go smoke sorghum and eat this sorghum with these peas in it for weeks until it was gone. And then they went back to the clover and the other stuff. So it isn't like October almost like cheating. Like, they are going to key in on it, and once they know what it is, and those milky little, they look like little airsoft. That's about the size of them, and they just eat that whole thing and those take it off. So especially if you're doing what we do, which is about generational training of these deer where to eat. You get them stuck on that, and they know where that's at in October. Those bigger deer are coming, and that's the key. You're picking out one deer, you're trying to raise him like I did 8x. Keep him on your property, and then have him do what you want and kill him. And then that's the experience that we talked about in the beginning. So if you're interested in a consult land audit, boots on the ground, I will send you a PDF. We made it. Everybody in this room made that little document. I'll send it to you. I'll talk to you. I'll look it up. I'll look at a couple pictures and make sure that we can completely help you and change the game on the way you look at your property, the way you approach it. Whether you need whether you're thinking about a pond, I'll tell you where to put a pond. Herman Brothers does ponds all the time. You're buying a piece of property and you don't call me, you get a free. You're essentially getting free property consult and information and all the stuff that we do. Essentially, you're getting that for nothing, because if you hire me as a buying agent and I get a referral from out of Illinois for what farm you're buying, I'm going to help you look at it. We're going to make sure that it has exactly what you're looking for. And I can look on that map and look at the access and look at the hills and look at the topography using the 3D on the Onyx. And so for all of your land needs, whether you're wanting to buy in Illinois, whether you're wanting to sell in Illinois, I will sell your farm fast right now. It is a market that, if I had a farm, I could sell it right now, because there are people looking. They've been holding steady for 12 to 14 months, holding their finances, waiting to find out what's happening. And they're just going, look, I got more gray hairs every day and I want to live my dream. I'm buying my property. That interest rate's not going to go down. I'll refinance when it does, but I've got to buy right now because I got to live my life. And that's what's happening. So if you're looking to sell, you're looking to buy, let's go get you something. Also, I got a property right now. It's not a coming soon. It's on the market right now, but I haven't put out the The pictures. I haven't flown the drone, haven't done anything. 14-acre lake in Peoria County. I have personally helped put these sunflower plots in the right spots. I have put it's got 4 food plots. It's got miscanthus, switchgrass, 2 shadow hunter blinds, 4 maverick blinds, all set up. The dam was just raised. The lake is 45 feet deep. It's a strip mine lake in Peoria, Illinois, with some of the biggest bass I've ever seen. Crappie, walleye, it's the most incredible little fishery. They even ski on it on the outskirts in Farmington School District right now. Herman Brothers Realty. I'm an agent in Illinois. They one of the little dudes killed a 145-inch beautiful, I think it's a 6x6 deer on there. Got some great trail cam pictures on there. So not only can you have a place to either build a house, sits way back off there on a strip mine, got 4 food plots, you can deer hunt it. It's got access to 2 lakes. One of them's 45, I cannot believe I'm saying 45 feet deep. You can have trout in it. You can keep them alive. Ski, boat on it, way out of the way. Killed tons of doves on this property. And it's agent owned, but Herman Brothers Realty, you can give me a call. And you're not going to find it on a listing anywhere. We don't play the MLS game. I don't even have it on land. I don't have it up. You got to call me. We'll get there, but I don't even think it'll actually be on the MLS. I think that somebody's going to buy it when they're hearing this podcast. Like, it's a must see. It's got east access. You're coming in from the east end of this property. So these strip mine areas with these cottonwoods and all the switchgrass we made, they're just going to come out the food plots. A very easy property to it's not a big one that you can invade and have all these options, but you're going to kill a deer whenever you want to kill it on it because of how it's set up. And the deer are going to come from the west. You're going to catch fish, and it's out of the wind because it's one of them deep ones and the water starts. Right now it's 13 to 14 acres. It's 60-something acres. And I think it's listed at $547,000. I mean, somebody could buy it, fish it, hang out with their kids, whatever. And that property is going to go up in the future because you're not going to see Peoria County ground go down, and you're not going to find another strip mine in this area. Like, you're not going to find another strip mine that has this much fish. And Herman Brothers Fisheries has been just managing this lake, and it has tremendous fishing. It's like elite stuff. We got a 60-acre property that I could show you in DeWitt County. It's agent owned. You know, we are in the middle of building properties, whether we're holding properties, whether we're and building them up that we own, that we just want to build up the whitetail equity. We want to know the timber value. We want to know where we can put ponds and do all this stuff and then sell it one day, because it's a great investment. That's why I'm an agent. It's why I'm a broker in the state of Illinois of Herman Brothers. You should take your test.
Again?
Yeah, you were only 2 questions from getting it last time.
Right,
Yeah.
round 2.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't give up, Bryce. Well, I appreciate all you guys for being here. Big shout out to White Gold, right? They're making this possible. We're looking for other spots, other people to come on and be advertisers. You're going to see a real pickup here of Landlife in March. We'll kick it off. We'll be doing 2 a week. We're going to schedule them when they come out, and you're going to see a lot more organization now that hunting season is over, and we're caught up with consults. After this week, I'll just be sitting here mapping, and we'll have the frost seeding done and a lot of people and projects ready to go. And then, you're going to see a consistency with Landlife. You're going to see a lot. I'm hoping a lot of people come on and help me execute some of these dreams that I still have to educate people and help them. The consults, let's do it. Call me. If you're on the fence, I can give you numbers of guys that know, and you can talk to them. I don't have to sell you on it. I'm here to help you. I'm here to do it. You're either going to call me now or you're going to call me 5 years from now. You might as well do it now.
Get it over with.
Get it over with. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the sunny weather. If you have questions about frost eating, we do get to questions that are just simple questions. Tell us if you are going to email us at Instagram or Facebook or message us. Just tell me where you're at. Don't just go, hey man, where do I put my clover in? Can I get clover? Dude, tell me that you are in central Indiana and that you have an acre. How many pounds do you 20 pounds to the acre? The other stuff you're going to have to read label with the chemicals. But Tell us where you're from. Tell us at least the region. Don't just ask the question. We will try to help on all of our social media platforms. We appreciate you. Again, this is Landlife, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Thanks, Bryce, for being here. Thanks,
for
guys,
having me.
for hanging out. We're out. Peace out, guys.